Now, the first thing that you're going to need to know how to do is create a function. Now, a function is a subroutine in programming, and it basically means that you can call on it all the time. So if you had a text adventure game, for example, and you'd mapped it out and you knew which direction, you could always go back to an original room if you knew how to get there. So I'm just going to put in here console.writeLine, and we're going to say, welcome to my text adventure. All right, where do you want to go? All right, and what I could easily do in there is I could put in console.writeLine. I'll sort of put that in a minute. So I could easily in there say press R for right and L for left. Now, I've got my decisions there, all right, but I actually need to get some input. What I'm going to do up here is, even before I start my game, I'm going to put movement, in fact, string movement equals blank, and I'm setting that up blank so that I've got the variable there so that I can use it later on. So this is just our normal way of working. Then I'll also need to get, at some point, we're going to go for console. In fact, I'm going to say movement equals console.read line. That's not going to do anything with that just yet. Now, what I want to do is I want to introduce you to something called functions. Now, I need a function for what happens if I go right and a function what happens if I go left. Second. So I'm just going to make that. So we're going to create a function, you type in static void and give it a name. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, let's just say void, and we're going to go right method. Helps if I spell that correctly. Right method, and inside what you want it to do, and we're going to go static void left method, and again inside it what you want it to do. At the end of your method, you need to have brackets on that. Now, if I go right, I might say, let's go console.writeLine. We're going to put in there, you've walked into a room full of snakes. All right. Now, on this one, we're going to say console.writeLine, you've walked into a room full of treasure. Now, I've not actually used either of those methods yet. It's not going to work. But before I add in an if statement, to call on a method, all you have to do, and I'll just write this in here, all right? I'm not putting the if statement in yet. Let me just comment this out. To use a method, all you have to do, to use a function / method, is call on it with its name. So I'm going to put here, right method, left method. Now, when I run that, it uses it like a pointer. It's going to point to that function. So when I run it, that's going to run both methods now. So let's see, line 24, semicolon left off the end of that. Right, run it again. So always look at your error messages that appear on the right. So that's just compiling. It may run out of error. So can you see it's ran that method, then that method. If I comment it out, all right, and run that. If I run that, that is only going to use that method. So you can see here, the reason why it's given this error is because I've declared a method that I've not used. All right, that is the reason why that's doing that. So it says here, you've walked into a room of snakes. Now, if I then commented that out and then moved to this one, Just wait for that to run. You've walked into a room full of treasure. So depending on the name that you put in will depend where it goes. Now I'm going to record a second video now that shows how you can put that within an if. So if you ask a question, it chooses where to go. All right. So I'm just going to stop that recording.